Here's what's coming up on today's show.
One thing that I think we can look forward to, not in a positive way, but in something that we think is like the boulder rolling down the hill, kind of inevitable. And it's not the fault of any administration. It's just something that we have to take care of. We got to look at this debt crisis and think, how are we going to take care of that?
Welcome to the Income for Life Show. If you're looking for some common sense retirement planning ideas and want to hear how we make the complex financial world simple, then listen up so you can learn how you can stay retired. The Income for Life Show is powered by Folds of Honor, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to providing educational scholarships to the families of America's fallen and disabled service members. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Nelson and Nick Schilling.
Welcome to the Income for Life Show with your hosts, Matt and Nick, on what is becoming a very sunny Christmas holiday time here in the Midwest. We thank you very much for listening in today here at the Income for Life Show on incomeforlife.org. And as usual, I'm here with Mr. Nick Schilling. Nick, how is your holiday season going? How things been for you?
Fantastic, Matt. Thanks for asking. It's been, as you mentioned in the open, it's been a ridiculous winter and holiday season. It doesn't feel like Christmas is happening this week because here in the Midwest in Kansas, it's going to be 65 degrees and golfing weather here right now.
It's 60 degrees again, and here we are, 3-4 days away from Christmas.
Yep.
And as I look outside right now, it's a beautiful day. There's no clouds in the sky. It's gorgeous. There's people running around in shorts, and people are trying to make golf plans, and it is absolutely not Christmas-like weather by any means.
But I'll take it.
I'll take it all day.
It doesn't feel like Christmas, but I'll take it year in and year out. It's fantastic. And anytime we get a chance to do this, we can still have the Christmas spirit while having it be nice outside.
There you go.
Love it.
And the Christmas spirit is upon us. My Christmas spirit the other night was going shopping with my two daughters, and boy, was there a lot of Christmas spirit in
being shared from Dad.
Being shared in that for sure. But again, wherever you are listening right now, hopefully you have some Christmas spirit going with you as well. We're only a few days away from that magical holiday, and hopefully you're making your plans and getting things ready to go for your family Christmas. And today's show, we're going to be talking about some end-of-year stuff anyway, so it's good that we are discussing right now the Christmas and the holidays, because today's show, we're going to be hitting on a couple of things that are very, very present in today's world and in today's U.S. news, which is this new stimulus package that we just got released and just got approved on through the House and everything just the other day. What was that? Maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
That just got approved. So we're going to hit on that a little bit and how that's going to have a play with moving into the 2021 year. And also what we have, Nick, is we're going to go through some end-of-year planning tasks, or things that maybe you should be thinking about moving into the end of this year and into the first of 2021, or just things maybe you may want to consider doing.
Agreed.
So as we jump into this first part of today's show, which is discussing this new $908 billion stimulus package that was just released yesterday, let's jump into that, because there's two key sectors of this stimulus package that we just got. And Nick, you printed off some information here that we're going to be reviewing. We want to go through a little bit about the $286 billion that I believe is going to go to what they call workers and families. All right, so that's going to be that portion. And then the other $325 billion that's going to go to small businesses. So let's dive into this kind of from the 10,000-foot view of this, because I think, Nick, you and I agree that this $908 billion is not obvious. Obviously, is not the amount that they were originally looking to do. They were trying to get significantly more than this. However, this is not going to make much of a dent for the everyday person. Wouldn't you agree?
Agree. And when we look back, even for this show, Matt, and you broke it up, we're going to have multiple topics. This one kind of slid in because literally last minute, yesterday, it was finally approved. It's been talked about almost since the first relief package, the CARES Act and the relief package was done, that we might need a second one. So this has been talked about and anticipated, but we didn't know when it was going to be done. So we didn't even plan on talking about this until it was actually finalized and out. So we want to add this because it's the top of conversation. If you turn on the TV, we want to talk about this just a little bit as to what we think this is going to do, the impact it's going to have, and how it should maybe change or tweak our thinking as when we look forward into 2021. So to hit on that, I think you set it off the get, Matt, is that this maybe didn't plan out to be as big a number as we thought they were talking about in the beginning. But when we look at how we should think about these things, the overall number is huge no matter what. If it's just under $1 trillion or $1 trillion, the number is massive. It's more about the effect. Where is that money going to go? And in this show, we've talked about it many times. The last thing we want to do is get political. We could debate how big the number should be. If the Democrats wanted it to be $3.5 trillion and the Republicans wanted it to be something less than that, and they met in the middle, that can all be talked about in a different show at a different time. But we don't want to get political with it. What we want to talk about is, now that it's passed, what are the numbers?
Right.
Where do we think, with eyes wide open, that this stuff should go? Because we've had one round of this. And now that the second round is out, what are they going to do different? How is it going to affect people? Because, Matt, I think we've talked about it many times, and I want to bounce this back to you real quick for an opinion before I get into the numbers. We think and we feel that the economy isn't really on the same stable footing that maybe the stock market.
Correct. We talk about it all the time.
Would show us right now. So when we look at this, there's still a lot of holes in the foundation of our economy. We want to make sure people understand there's a difference between that and the stock market.
Well, yes, and that's perfect. But what everybody is listening right now, whenever we dive into a little bit more, we're not going to dive into the granules of this. We're just going to look at, some of the 10,000-foot view. But what we're going to focus on mainly is there's going to be two comparisons that, if you are 50, 55 years of age, or you're at any age that is concerned about retirement, and you have all of these things that are playing against you right at the time when you need this money the most, that's the danger of having all of these things happen. Because, Nick, I think you and I both agree that once the ball tips, if you would, with the market, or once decisions have to be made with the government that's going to cause the market to correct and do the drops and all of these things that I think everybody agrees is going to be happening. It's just a matter of when. When that happens and you are close to retirement or in retirement, there is a very good chance that you would be in this scenario for your entire retirement, or at least for the most part of it. It's going to have a very, very big effect on you that won't be going away anytime soon.
Agree. And a big deal with that is, Matt, what you and I talk about kind of offline quite a bit, is there is a difference between what this relief is intended to do and the effect that it has. This relief, $908 billion, a massive amount of money.
On top of whatever else is already there.
On top of what was done in March and April. Well, what we see is it's there to solidify the foundation of our economy, the people that need it the most, the businesses that need it the most. So as you said in the beginning, Matt, relief for workers and families. They are sending out, we'll call them stimulus checks is the way that they put it. Last round was $1,200 per person, per family type of deal. This round, half of that. $600. We can debate if those stimulus checks are useful, and we can go through economic theory. That's perfectly fine. In the end, we know that $600 isn't that much when you're talking paying bills in the United States of America.
Well, we were also talking, Nick, let me jump in there. The average cost of rent
or mortgage is like
mortgages is like $1,500. So as much as I appreciate, and everybody would appreciate, getting that check for $600 to help them out, my question, and I think everybody's question and concern is okay, thanks, but there's still 20 million people that are unemployed. What is this $600 per person or per qualified person actually going to do? Is it going to make a benefit to them in a way that's going to say, "Oh, okay, now I'm good"? I don't see it. Do you?
I don't. So we'll get into the other component of that, as you mentioned, Matt. 20 plus million people still on some sort of unemployment benefits. That just tells you that we've been talking about for the last 6 months, the economic foundation that we have in the stock market are two dissecting things. They're on different paths right now, and we'll talk about what we think this is going to do with that. And another component of that, the additional unemployment benefits are also cut in half. Now, we can look at that and say, well, a vaccine's on its way. We don't need as much this time. All of those things. All of that is true. But when we look at what if we're going to spend about $1 trillion on support, let's make sure that support actually has some utility for the long term for the people that need it.
For the ones that actually need it.
That's
big.
What happens now with many of these things, Matt, if it's even the triple PPP loans for businesses or the support and stimulus for families directly, what happens is the people that need that do get a little bit of infusion there. They get a little bit of support. But where it really helps is the stock market. And it's the stock market, for our point of view, in a very short burst of time. So what happens is the stock market has been anticipating another stimulus bill and has been skyrocketing up to record levels. We now have that bill passed. It is maybe not as big and resourceful as they were expecting it to be, which is then causing some volatility the last few days, which may then mean more stimulus is coming. Who knows? But what we do know is that the stock market is at all-time highs. Our economy that underpins the stock market is not at all-time lows, but it's on shaky ground, significantly shakier ground than what the stock market says it's going to be. So relief versus what's happening in the stock market is two divergent things. And what we need to do when we think about that's a lot of words and a lot of thought, but when we think about it, if you are in the time where you're planning for retirement or in retirement, you have to look at this as, at some time, these two divergent things. Stock market at all-time highs, economy on wobbly legs. They're going to have to meet at some time. So they can meet in the middle, and maybe that middle is a 20% correction of the stock market. Maybe the stock market goes all the way down, and I'm just coming up with kind of arbitrary numbers to be from a correction to a recession to all of these things. But at some time, these things are going to have to come back to each other. We are going to have raise the economy to meet where the stock market's at and keep it going, or the stock market is going to have to come back to where we think normal valuations of companies, not named Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, come back to normal underpinnings of that seems like a good price to earnings ratio of a company with an economy the way that it is.
And if you think about that, and you are 60 years old, you're thinking about retirement planning, you got that 401k, you have those brokerage accounts, whatever it might be, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is my nest egg, right? This is my retirement money. And right now, like you just said, Nick, right now it should be. I mean, it should be at an all-time high. I mean, the market has been really good over these last several years. So right now you should be sitting on more money than you had previously by a long shot. So you have this bucket or
Correct.
buckets of money. And you just went through two scenarios right there where, okay, what do you think it could be that the economy will rise up and meet, in essence, the expectations of the market? Or do you feel that will not happen with the economy and the market will come down based on the lowered wobbly legs of the economy? So if you are listening to this right now, which one of those two do you think is more likely to happen right now?
And at what speed? The economy
Yes.
changing takes a long time. We are talking a half a decade to a decade of view with it. Stock markets move every second, every minute
All the time.
of every day. That's the stuff that you can't afford.
And if you are the retirement age, right now, you need to be thinking about the 3 C's of retirement, Nick, that you and I talk about all the time. The checkbook, the calendar, and the clock. That is how you have a successful and happy and stress-free retirement. You got to know how much is in that checkbook every single month. When is more money coming in every single month? And how long will that money last you? That is the cornerstone of a proper retirement plan. So you know that, but now you have this incredibly wobbly economy that is going to take years and years to potentially fix itself. That is being propped up, in essence, with a stock market that is just all over the board and never probably should have got to as high as it is right now. The likelihood of the market correcting is very high right now. And there's so many signs that we went through for so many shows that discuss exactly that.
The market could correct multiple times in the time period that it's going to take for the economy. And when we say economy, we really mean not stock market businesses, not S&P 500. Those too need to be shored up and solidified. But I'm talking middle class businesses, the places on Main Street, restaurants, travel, all of these entertainment experiences. We need to get those back and going to have an economy like we were used to. Not everything has to be the same like we were used to, but we better have the same coffee shop and all of those things back where we're spending money in middle-class America and being able to employ people, have those people spend money, and then support the middle class of America, which actually is 70% of the economy, because we need all those people employed so they can buy jeans and food and all the things that keep our economy going, as opposed to just buying things on Amazon or software and all of these things at this really high level that seem to be spurring the stock market, but aren't supporting the economy.
Correct. Very good information. So obviously this relief package that has just been released yesterday, this $908 billion, where about $600 in one individual paycheck is going to go out to everybody. That relief package, on top of the other relief package that we got in March and April, taking that and comparing that with the stock market is our first comparison that we wanted everybody to understand, because the market is going to be adjusting. It's going to be changing. We have it sounds like at least pretty confidently that we're going to have new leadership in the White House coming into 2021. That group has already been discussing how they are going to make adjustments to various things that have been done over the last 4 years when it comes to the economy, with spending, with a lot of things. So we already have I believe it's over $20 trillion in debt right now. If I'm correct, it may be closer to $24 trillion in debt right now, with more debt just going on and on and on. So when you have this economy that is kind of faltering, and then you have this market that's at this all-time high, and you have this amazing amount of debt, something eventually is going to have to give. And that is what you and I were just talking a little bit about. When this does happen, whenever this does, think of a big boulder that's on top of a mountain, that just a little bit of a gust or a little bit of a push, that thing is going to go tumbling down. And trying to stop that boulder when it gets going is not going to happen until that boulder decides it wants to stop.
That's exactly it. So as a retiree and in the planning process, not only is there an opportunity right now to start to lock in and plan for these high stock market gains that you have in your retirement accounts, there's things a little bit forward of that, a little bit longer term, that we need to start bringing in. The new administration coming in, we can again look and say, well, Democrats like higher taxes and Republicans like lower taxes and minimal government. So even if you take those tenets as they are, right now the incoming administration is inheriting something that is not in a great place. The economy is struggling. We are increasing the debt on an annual basis and on a support and relief basis because of the pandemic and different things that are happening. So they're inheriting something where they're going to use the way that they normally do things to try to correct what's happening. So when we look out ahead, we think right now that tax rates are about as low as they're going to be for a long period of time. Now, the economy, as we just said, is not recovering. So Matt and I don't think that come 2021, in the first quarter of the new administration, they're going to retrofit and change all these tax things.
Correct.
We don't think that's going to happen, because that would be not great, even if you're being selfish from the Biden administration. that would probably be political suicide from his standpoint to start to really put a damper on what we're trying to do to build the economy back up. But when we look a little bit longer than that, once the vaccines are out, more and more people are inoculated to this, and things start to get back on better footing. One thing that I think we can look forward to, not in a positive way, but in something that we think is like the boulder rolling down the hill, kind of inevitable, and it's not the fault of any administration, it's just something that we have to take care of. We got to look at this debt crisis and think, how are we going to take care of that? That could be an increase in taxes. And we don't know if that's going to be an increase in taxes for the wealthy, as they've talked about in the campaign trail, or an increase in taxes across the board, probably some combination. Could also be increasing taxes on the gains in retirement plans or the gains in investment plans. So we have to look at what we have right now and see if there are strategic and tactic things that we can do to take advantage of the opportunity that we have before things shift significantly.
Correct, Nick. And that's excellent information. And I hear from clients every day, every week, and people that are maybe listening to the Income for Life show, and they send us an email and just have some questions about what they heard or whatever it might be. And a lot of them, I mean, I would say right now, especially in this last quarter, I would say 95% of the questions that I hear is, Matt, what do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen?
Great point.
You know, coming into 2021, all this stuff, all this new debt, this new stimulus bill, this coronavirus, everything that's happening, what do you think is going to happen? And my answer to that every time is, well, what's your gut say? We had a whole entire show the other week called Trust Your Gut. What do you think is going to happen? And what are you doing to plan for that? And I would say every person says, well, it's not going to be good. Everybody will say something to the tune of, you know, we're spending money we don't have. The economy is bad. You know, everybody's out of work for the most part. I think taxes are going to go through the roof. I think the market is going to go down. You know, whatever their scenario is, or a combination of all those, everybody is assuming, like you and I talk about, that sadly, if there is going to be a change, that change is going to be to the negative more so than the positive, because there's just not enough money out there to be able to take care of everything. There's going to have to be a tax change. And like you said, Nick, maybe it's going to be on the quote, wealthy, the top 10% of earners. That's what we've been hearing all during this political campaigns.
Correct.
Going to stay within those people. Okay, maybe not. But there's going to be a significant amount of change that all of us are going to be affected by. So that kind of leads us into this conversation of this debt versus taxes. We got all this new oncoming debt that we're having now on top of this already mountain of debt that this country has, and 20 million people out of work, all these things that are going against us, and especially for retirees right now. Right now, in my opinion, I am of the view that when the tax changes come, which we think they will, I mean, like you said, Nick, it's not going to be immediately. It's going to, once things kind of slow down, settle down, maybe sometime 2021, whatever it might be, into 2022 even, there's going to have to be an adjustment somewhere. So whenever that does happen, what's it going to happen with the stock market? What's going to happen with your brokerage accounts? What's going to happen with your 401k? So if you're younger, you can deal with this and you can roll with it, and maybe you can even plan it and be fine. If you are 55, 60, 65 years old, this could be life-altering, life-damaging retirement for you if you don't plan for this now. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. And when we talk about planning for these things, we're talking about using our gut and having a little foresight to be able to lock in things that we know are certain. We know where our account is right now. We're not saying forego additional gains if the stock market continues to go. We're saying have a plan to lock in the lifestyle that you want. And with that plan, we can then open up other avenues to take advantage of things when the market starts to go in the direction that we want. It takes the plan. You got to start thinking ahead, because as Matt had mentioned, if the market corrects even a little bit, that will devastate your plan. 20% difference in your nest egg can be a lifestyle changer completely. That could mean working in retirement significantly longer than you wanted to. That could mean not traveling, not doing the things that you had planned on doing, when all we needed to do was lock in the retirement income that we needed, start to focus on the 3 C's at the time when we could, and we can take care of all those things and let everything else ride.
And that's
let
perfect.
The plan go. Yep.
And that is perfect. And I've talked to so many different clients all across the country, and one of the things that I hear almost every single time is, man, Matt, I wish I would have found you guys 5 years ago. We always hear that all the time. That was before this coronavirus. This was, back when this was not even a consideration of this virus. It was, man, I wish I would have found you guys 5 years ago, because I could have done this 5 years ago, and look where I would be now if I would have done this then. Okay, you think about that now in today's world, in today's economy, everything that's going on. Right now, your account value should be still at an all-time high. Yet you see all these things happening. You see all these things that are coming eventually. When is tough to say, but it's coming. So all of this information that is happening, one of my very good friends and one of my clients told me, this was about a week and a half ago. He goes, man, I wish I would have had all of this foresight in 2008.
Correct.
He said, because everything right now screams, I got to protect, I got to save, I got to get this stuff out while the getting's good. The market's at an all-time high, yet every signal says this is going to be changing. If I would have had that in 08, I wouldn't have got crushed in 08, because all the signs are there. It's just you got to do it.
It's pretty simple, logical thinking to say it's kind of incongruent that the stock market's at an all-time high, but yet yesterday we just passed a stimulus of almost $1 trillion, an additional stimulus of almost $1 trillion to support the workers and the economy of the United States of America.
Think about that.
Typically, you would think those two things are mutually exclusive. If you have an all-time high, you have an economy that's rocking and rolling and you don't need stimulus. Or if you need stimulus, you don't have
a rockin' market,
a rockin' stock market. But we have both right now, and something's got to change. What I think we need to do, and Matt, you and I can do a whole nother show on this, but because I liked your thing of when we talk to our clients and they say, I wish I would have seen you guys 5 years ago. Right now, people get caught up in this fear of missing out, this FOMO attitude of, well, what if Tesla keeps going to the moon, or all of these things? I'm going to miss out on all these gains. For retirees, it's looking backwards and saying, if I only would have done that.
The woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Backwards, not forwards. And most of the time, we want to be thinking forward. But it's not about missing out on gains. It's about locking in your lifestyle. And then the gains can follow afterwards once you have your lifestyle, your 3 C's, locked in and set.
And a lot of people think that locking in your lifestyle, which I love that term, that's exactly what we're talking about. Locking in the lifestyle that you want to have in retirement when the getting's good, right? While you can. But when it comes to future gains, locking in your lifestyle does not mean you're abandoning future gains. You can lock in a lifestyle, have that guaranteed income, have the 3 C's of retirement, have that pension-style life that you have always wanted, yet still be involved with market gains.
It actually frees you up.
It frees you up to
mentally
do that.
And financially to be able to take some more risk. Have some more dynamic nature to your investment portfolio once you have your lifestyle secured. If you don't have that, then you're always worried it could turn negative. But once that's taken care of and you're on sure footing there, the other stuff that you have, now we can get a little bit more exotic. We can have a little bit more fun with the rest of your portfolio, and we do all that stuff. But we don't do that until the lifestyle you've secured is done.
Well, let's paint a picture here. Here's typically what we hear with our typical client, and exactly what you just said, Nick. Let's say that they get their lifestyle locked up, right? So now they have this guaranteed income, pension-style income, no matter what. So with a portion of their nest egg. So now this is starting and this is coming in. So now they're freed up also over here. If they want to do some more dynamic approach to other investments, they absolutely can if they want to and if they have that ability. So let's say they're doing that, and that dynamic approach over here is, fair to partly cloudy, maybe it goes down, maybe it goes up, whatever. But they can watch it over here almost for the entertainment value.
Yes.
Because on the other side, that livelihood is already set.
Yeah.
So now they can sit there and say, okay, well, yeah, this is kind of moving up and down over here. And then guess what? Next Tuesday, they get a paycheck. And now that livelihood is coming in. And now they got the market over here doing whatever it wants. I don't know how many times, Nick, we've heard our clients say, I can finally watch the news for the entertainment.
Correct.
Because my livelihood is protected.
Your investment portfolio should be for your want to things in retirement.
Not your have to things.
Not your need to and have to things. I want to buy an RV. I want to buy a second home. I want to give X amount of money to the kids or to charity or to the church or whatever.
But I have to pay my mortgage.
You have to buy food. You have to pay your mortgage. You have to have your lifestyle secured. We need to break those two thought processes apart. They have to work together in your plan. And that's what we do here at Income for Life. But they have to be different thought processes.
They have to. And one is absolutely has to be there guaranteed no matter what, every single month, like clockwork.
Yep.
Got to get paid every single month. That's the have to money, right? That is the rent payment. That is your taxes. That's your insurance bills. That's
your food.
Well, your food, your utilities,
Yep.
your things that you have to have. We call that, the have to money, right? The required income. And then the other side of the coin is the want to, or the lifestyle income. I want to, go down that path of charitable contribution. I want to give to my church. I want to be able to take those trips. I want to buy that motorcycle. Those things that you just like to do.
Yep.
That's the want to. That's the lifestyle. So you have to break those two up. And if you start off your retirement plan building everything around the hope so money, the want to money, and not where we are recommending, which is the have to money, and I need this money. If you do it the opposite way, you could get in trouble very quickly.
Yeah, it starts to tumble or spiral out of control if circumstances go against what we hope they are.
Which is exactly what we are discussing about. If they do go against right where we are right now,
Yep.
is a good likelihood of the against happening.
And if you're doing your planning, because here's what we're talking about, this additional stimulus is good. Glad the government was able to pass it. We talk about this stuff that if it's going to have a long-term impact or not. What we do know is the market is at an all-time high. So take advantage, talk to us, talk to your local advisor, start to make a plan to be able to take advantage of some of these things that we know are certain in the planning process at the end of the year.
And we have so many people that when they first come to us, Nick, part of the things that they tell us is, yeah, I know what I need to do, but I just don't know how to start. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to. I have a very good idea, and you can almost hear their brain spinning. They're like, I know what I want. I just don't know how, and I don't know how to say it.
Agree.
So
I don't know what to ask. I don't know who to ask
what
it to.
to ask. I don't know who to ask. I don't know the right questions to ask. I'll make it very easy on everybody that's listening right now. When you give us a call and you schedule a time to talk to us and we are going through what we do, we understand that. We understand that this is a confusing time. This is probably the scariest time in your adult life. We understand that because planning your retirement, you've been working 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it is, to build up this nest egg. And it is scary to now get into a scenario where I got to make some changes. I got to make some adjustments because now I have to live on this money because you weren't having to live on it before. You had a paycheck coming in. So this transition into retirement, which we call the retirement shift,
Yep.
is a very, very, very difficult time in your life. We get that. We understand that. But what we do is we make it as clear and easy and as common sense as you could ever imagine because it's very simple. We set up that guaranteed income stream. We set up that guaranteed pension-style retirement account with the amount that you need to have. How much we can do, what do you need? We just set that up for you, freeing you up to relax in retirement. That's the idea. So when you give us a call and we sit down and we talk to you about this, whether it's over the phone or in person, whatever you prefer to do, we'll go through that. And you will leave that first meeting saying, man, I didn't know this could be this easy. we hear it all the time, Nick. It's like, man, I mean, you guys really made that a lot easier than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more confusion and a little bit more headache. This is actually easier than I thought it could be.
Most of the time, our clients come in, their brain's already spinning. What we're trying to do is simplify that process, simplify the thought process, calm them down a little bit and say, we can take some steps here to make this an easier game to be able to play. It's not as confusing as many times people in our industry try to make it. We're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to have people be confident in retirement, be confident in their plan, and be confident in making decisions that will benefit them for the long run of their retirement. So we just want to be able to talk to things that are happening right now, like the new stimulus bill, and make sure that you're thinking about that stuff that seem way out of our control and massive at a scale that we can't even fathom at our local household. But we need to be able to take in that information and start to make changes in our plan, and that's what we're trying to do.
And I think that's common sense with a lot of people, wouldn't you think, Nick? It's something that they see. They see what's going on with this economy. They see that the market is up. We have this transition in the White House. We have all of these things that are happening. We got these trillions of dollars that are coming in. Everybody, I think, will understand from the 10,000-foot view of there's going to be some big-time changes coming.
Yes.
So I don't think that we're speaking out of line on what everybody else is saying. I think we're all right there. So that process is going to happen. What we would advise you, just give us a call. Yep. Shoot us an email. We'll walk you through it. That's
if people are thinking it, then we need to act on that thought and start to make some changes in our plan.
Perfect. Now let's jump into the end of our show topic here, where obviously we're at the end of the 2020 year. We're getting into Christmas time. There's a whole bunch of planning ideas that you're probably getting marketing literature on from everybody under the sun, talking about end of year 2020, what you should do, moving into 2021, whatever it might be. Well, we have about 5 or 6 ideas and things that we just want you to think about.
Correct.
That we have just kind of deemed end-of-year planning tasks. So things you could do end of year, moving into 2021, that you just want to think about. Just, consider these things as we go.
And some of these things are not just, because these are planning tasks for your retirement and your income and your investments. So some of these don't have to be done by January 1, 2021.
Correct.
We're more talking planning for the end of, we'll call it fiscal year 2020 for tax season that you'll be filing by April in 2021.
Yeah, this is not, you need to do this tomorrow.
You don't need to do this tomorrow, but you need to start making a plan before you sit down with your financial advisor or CPA to be able to see, am I taking advantage of all the things that I can take advantage of before we do this? Most people want to get 2020 in the rearview mirror, but let's make sure we're doing it quickly, but taking advantage of the things that we need to do.
And we can, of course, walk you through these 5 or 6 here. At any time you want to give us a buzz, and we can do it. But the first one that we want to discuss here that you want to consider at end of year and moving into 2021 is do your best to max out those retirement contributions if you can, if you're still working. Those retirement contributions that you're maybe putting into that 401k, obviously those are tax-deferred monies, but also maybe you have a scenario where that employer is matching up to a percentage or whatever it might be. You want to take advantage of as much as you can with that.
Great point, Matt. And I think it's a necessity. If you're not meeting what your employer is matching, definitely do that and do that going forward for as long as you can. And then there's beyond that, if you have additional saved resources that you can put towards these plans, doing that, being able to get a tax deduction on it and have tax deferral can be a way to optimize.
Perfect. Yep. That's number 1. Number 2, we want you to review the CARES Act issues for the coronavirus relief like we just discussed. We want you to make sure that you understand that moving into 2021, the RMDs right now are going to start over in 2021. At least that's what they're anticipating, and I'm assuming they will. But for this year, RMDs were not required. So there's money and opportunities out there that you can get to without some penalties. So take advantage of some of this CARES Act opportunities that might be just a one-and-done scenario.
Correct. And when we say take advantage of it, we don't mean you have to do something or not. It becomes part of the thought process. For many people, because taxes are low right now, what we talked about, taking your RMD, you should probably still do it. If you need the money,
If you need it, do it.
Do it now while taxes are low, as opposed to delaying it. If you want to delay it, perfectly fine. We don't know how things are going to change. But these are all things that you need to think about when you're talking to your professionals in being able to do it, that it's optimizing your specific plan with your family, not just following some rule.
And giving RMD relief for the 2020 year, it does not mean you cannot take it if you don't want to.
Correct.
You can take it if you want to. It's just if you don't want to, they're going to give you the option of not having to do it.
If you don't need the income, you don't need to take it.
You can leave it alone.
But looking forward, even if you don't need it, now may be a time to take it. It's all about looking at your specific plan, making sure we're optimizing that plan.
Perfect. Number 3 that we're going to jump in here is explore possibilities of tax loss harvesting. Explain that, Nick, because there's going to be some people that understand that. Then there's other people that are like, what are you talking about harvesting tax loss?
So when this gets into taking a larger view of your overall portfolio, of your investment portfolio, and in many times we have some investments that have gained, some investments that have lost, especially in a year as volatile and awkward and unique as 2020 has been, where we've had gains in, and Matt, for 5 shows, we've talked about how about 5 or 6 stocks have basically carried
the S&P 500.
The S&P 500, and 95% of the stocks have had a not great year. So tax loss harvesting is a concept in your portfolio that you need to talk to a professional about, but being able to offset some of the gains that you've had in certain positions with losses you've had in others to mitigate or lessen some of the tax consequences that you may have in your overall portfolio. Many circumstances, advisors and CPAs can help you with this, but it takes you wanting to do that. And it takes you communicating with your advisor if they're not communicating with you to be able to take advantage of some of these things. And your plan, it may be opportune. Your plan, it might not, depending on if you're in all qualified plans or non-qualified plans. But it's something that we need to look at, and your advisor should be doing it for you.
And that's something that you would need some help doing. That is typically something that you need to get with that advisor or get with us, and we can help you walk through that.
Correct.
Of how that could or benefit you, and if it couldn't benefit you, we'll tell you. Things like that. But that's something that you're going to need some help on. Is the potential of a tax loss harvesting.
It's an opportunity for you to give us a call, talk about your situation. We can help review that with you to see if there's an opportunity within that is worthwhile in doing, and then have a larger conversation.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and jump on to number 4. Again, we're talking about end-of-year planning tasks, things that you can do end of year of 2020 into maybe up to April 2021 to give you some ideas. And we're on number 4 right now. Number 4 is evaluate options for tax-deductible charitable contributions. And Nick, we have discussed this a few different times, both on our show here at incomeforlife.org, but also off air.
Yep.
And we have a lot of clients that really like to give. They really like to help, and especially right now, in the holiday season, a lot of people have, charitable giving on their mind a lot. And also, given the fact that this is a crazy year of the 2020, it just doubles onto that. So giving to people in a charitable way can also be beneficial to the person giving.
That's a great point. And as you mentioned, Matt, it's kind of the perfect storm of an opportunity to give. So if you have the means to be able to give to different charities and do some stuff, what we'll do is not only is it a great time because you're a giver in years previous, but now there could be some opportunities to give because it's the holiday season and because of the pandemic and there's a crisis and people are in need. But it doesn't have to go without proper planning for you. Even though giving is from the heart, it's not the impetus of it is not to take advantage of tax opportunities, but they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Done right, it can be a maximization of benefit for the people that you want to give to and a maximization of benefit on the back end for you. We'll get into that. I think that deserves maybe a larger segment, Matt.
Maybe in our next, a little more time.
Maybe in our next show, we can touch on some of the steps you can take if you want to give, if you have the means, how to maximize that a little bit, and then the steps that you would take to talk to somebody to do it.
And that's important because, yes, there are ways. If you are in a position where you can absolutely help some people, we would always encourage you that if you can do it, then do it. But there's also a way that this could be a benefit to you as well from the tax side and things like that. So, of course, the ideal giving scenario is I just want to be able to help and give some money to whatever group that I can. But that does not mean that is not beneficial to you. So that absolutely deserves its own show. And one of these days, maybe in the first part of 2021, we'll approach that a little bit more.
We can have a little segment on that to talk about it before tax season comes up.
Correct.
So that people can start to make the impact in early 2021 and take advantage of it come tax.
Perfect. And now we're going to jump into number 5 of these topics of end-of-year planning tasks. And number 5 is consider purchases that would give you a tax credit. A lot of people don't think about that too much. So there's purchases out there that you can do towards the end of the year.
Correct.
That can give you a tax credit for that year.
Correct. And there's a lot of things, and we can maybe loop this together with the one previous. The IRS gives some incentives for people to do certain things to get tax breaks. Contributions and charitable donations are one of those things. There's other things like lifetime learning credits in education and retirement. There's a massive incentive right now for what's called green, in kind of air quotes, doing things that are socially and community responsible. There's tax incentives to be able to do that. So talk to somebody about if you're going to buy a new car, does it give a big tax benefit to make that electric or hybrid, if that's something that you want to do. Just talking to somebody to take advantage of tax credits that are out there to make sure you're making the most sophisticated purchases you can before
you
the
got
end of the year.
it. Perfect. And then the last one that we're going to wrap up with on our topics of end-of-year planning tasks is one that deserves its own Income for Life show, maybe 2 or 3 shows down the road. It's one of the biggest things when it comes to retirement planning and retirement income planning that is available today. And it is determining if a Roth conversion makes sense for you.
Exactly.
Roth conversions right now are not only very, very important to consider, but also looking into the future, what's going to happen with the income tax brackets? What's going to happen? Are those taxes going to go up? If I'm going to have to pay some taxes on this money, maybe I should do it now.
Correct.
As opposed to waiting until that's going to cost me more to do it. So that
Correct.
Roth conversion right now, end of year, is huge.
And it's something that I think you're right, Matt, that we need to talk about a little bit deeper. There is an opportunity, because of where tax rates are right now, to be able to take advantage of the Roth conversion. But we want to say this is that everybody's situation is so unique. And this type of conversation, this conversion conversation of pay taxes now versus later, is so specific and unique to everybody's situation that anybody, if you hear anybody out there saying you should do it just arbitrarily on the air or on a thing, step back.
You got it.
What we're saying is you need to analyze that. It could be a fantastic opportunity for you. You need to talk to somebody like us at Income for Life. We need to look at your unique situation and see if a Roth conversion is an opportunity for you right now. But it takes that conversation. It takes that analysis. We think it's a worthwhile analysis. No matter if you do it or not, many people, it could be a perfect time to do it. Others, it might not. Let's dig into that conversation with you. And on another show, we can dig in a little bit deeper as well.
And people need to understand that a Roth conversion is not free. There's
Correct.
a big taxable event that very well could be happening. And Roth conversions don't have to be an all or nothing. There's a Roth carve-out. There's other ways that you can do this and we can tell you about.
And some of the things that we can dig into on another show have changed about being able to kind of have a take backsies if you do a conversion. Some of those recontributions and recharacterizations aren't available like they were now. We'll dig into some of that stuff on another time. But thinking about reaching out to us to say, could a Roth conversion, if we have some extra cash and our tax rates are low, is it something that I could take advantage of? Let's dig into your unique situation. Just give us a call.
And we've had people that have done that call, and they have called us and they said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a Roth conversion. And we run the numbers and it's like, oh, no, don't do that. And then they figure it out. It's like, oh, wow, I'm glad I didn't. So it's everybody's individual scenario. But Roth conversions, if it's appropriate, is a wonderful opportunity. It's just, is it appropriate for you? And we can dive into that.
Is it appropriate for you, and how much? Even if we do it, what's the appropriate amount. You don't have to convert an entire account. You can do partials and all of these things that come into the planning process. We just want to make sure you're communicating with us before we start doing it, and we got a plan.
Don't do it until you give us a call. Bottom line is don't do anything and don't sign anything until you at least let us take a look at it.
Correct.
And as we wrap up today's show here, we're talking about end of year planning tasks, and kind of what is coming at the end of this 2020 year, moving into 2021. And like we always wrap up every Income for Life show, there's a lot of movement at the end of the year. Here with our, of course, world champion Kansas City Chiefs. We're getting to the end of the 2020 year, and how about that? Our Kansas City Chiefs are sitting at the top of the AFC.
Well, the wheat starts to separate from the chaff pretty quickly over the course of a season, and let's say we're looking forward to the playoffs coming.
Let's just say it looks pretty good to have home field advantage and that first round bye all the way through the playoffs, because again, those Pittsburgh Steelers lost again last night, this time to the ever-powerful Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
So, tongue-in-cheek,
the perennial powerhouse,
the powerhouse of the Cincinnati Bengals. But anyway, our Chiefs are looking good. Everything is looking good with the Kansas City sports scene. Everything is going well, so it's a good time to be a Chiefs fan right now. Of course, again, we didn't get a chance to bring on future Hall of Famer and world champion and MVP, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. He's been pretty busy this week doing all of his Christmas shopping, I bet.
I'm guessing. 2020 has been a weird year, and we're just looking for silver linings, and the Chiefs are one of those big silver linings.
Could you imagine the Christmas lists that Patrick Mahomes was given from his family and everything? Could you imagine what is on that list? Because, my list could be like, hey, I need a new pair of shoes, maybe whatever, a new sport jacket, something like that. What do you think could be on the lists of the family members, like Brittany, his future wife here? What's on her list?
She's, let's just say that he's in a different tax bracket than we are. So I'm sure he's got a lot of people helping him spend a lot of that money, and he's doing a great job of it. So we thank him for it.
And obviously, Patrick, if you're listening right now, we are going to be talking about this thing called charitable giving. So you can, of course, give us a call anytime you want. We can walk you through that there, Mr. Mahomes. But again, thank you very much for listening here to the Income for Life show. Again, this is Matt and Nick. You are listening at incomeforlife.org, or maybe you're listening on one of our affiliate areas. We also want to send out a very special Christmas wish to our partners at Folds of Honor, and we don't talk about them enough. If you don't know who they are, definitely go to foldsofhonor.org and learn more about that charity organization. We're proud to be powered by the group at Folds of Honor for everything they do for military families, and we want to wish that team a very happy and very successful Christmas holiday. Wouldn't you think, Nick?
Agree, and we'll dig into that when we talk about our charitable contributions on another show. Perfect. We'll dig into that even more. But since the year is wrapping up, we just hope everybody has a fantastic holiday season. Let's end 2020 on a high note, personally and professionally. Let's everybody look forward to 2021. Let's just look forward with a plan, and we hope everybody has a great holiday season.
Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Have a safe and wonderful Christmas and New Year's Eve. And until next time, bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Income for Life show. If you have any questions about something we talked about today or want to get in touch with the Income for Life team, just give a call to 833-450-3068. That's 833-450-3068. You can also go online to incomeforlife.org and check the description of today's show for any relevant resources and contact information. You can also find the podcast on all major podcasting apps, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and many more locations. The Income for Life show is powered by Folds of Honor, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to providing educational scholarships to the families of America's fallen and disabled service members. For more information, visit foldsofhonor.org. Information provided on today's show is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information is obtained from sources that are deemed seem to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified professional before taking any action.